A little round of applause in the studio. Lauv joining us.
What up? Thank you for having me.
We've been talking a bunch about it, but last time we saw each other, hung out, was before COVID, Jingle Ball,
Crazy.
on stage. So I got to ask, like, how good does it feel to be out and about and just seeing people and doing your thing again?
It's such a sigh of relief. I got being at home. I'm sure you felt the same way. It was just like it gets very overwhelming in the head.
Yeah. I was that guy like going to CVS to get water when I didn't need water. They had it out of my house.
Exactly. I feel that.
So we'll get right into it too. Obviously, I listened to a bunch of your music, and one thing that really stand out to me I want to talk about was on 26, you mentioned how money can buy happiness, but it can't buy time. And I feel like that's pretty deep. So to talk a little more in that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's kind of like it can buy, like, you know, what I was feeling in that moment is it's like it can buy like momentary like happiness, you know. But like I felt like I spent a lot of time in my life being caught up in momentary highs as opposed to you know, like real friendships. Like, you know, it's like if I say on like modern loneliness, like, you know, love my friends to death, but I never call, I never text. And I feel like I spent a lot of time just kind of on things that felt really, you know, good for a quick second, but not in the long run, you know, and that aren't like true, like life fulfilling things.
And that's a powerful thing to want to acknowledge and see, but like, because so many people go through that and do that, and they chase the wrong happiness day in and day out. What's something that's kind of helped you evolve to chase what you really feel could bring you the actual happiness over time, as you said?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's just like so much time I spent chasing like validation and stuff too, you know? It's just like no good.
Especially now as a social media time of validation, we're chasing the likes or chasing the comments or trying to go viral and all these things, when you forget that even if you get that, that might not be what makes you happy someday.
Mm-hmm. And it's a roller coaster.
And I feel like COVID in this crazy time in our world, but it brought everybody a better like work-life balance. I've heard you even talk about in the past how you were so focused on work and making it and getting it big, and then this crazy thing happens to us, and now we're like, hold on, other things matter to us. Talk about that for you real quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just feel like ever since I was a kid and I like had a dream of doing music, it was like 100% of my mental energy, like whether I was in school or doing this or doing that, it was always just on my music career, which was like super dope to have that drive. And I feel like that was amazing. But I also feel like there's so many like friendships that I let, you know, fall to the wayside, or like things that I missed along the way, or moments. And, you know, also it took a huge toll on my like overall sense of like fulfillment and happiness as a person. And you know, if one of the good things that came out of, you know, being at home lockdown was like being forced eventually to be like, okay, like I'm driving myself crazy. Like I got to find some balance. And I fell in love, and my girlfriend like also like is a huge balancing factor in my life. So I'm really thankful for her.
And then talking about that, we have to give a round of applause because you are one of the few relationships to form and make it through COVID. Talk about just like, you know, a new relationship during COVID and everything with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because it's like at first it was so unexpected, you know, like, I don't think either of us were expecting to like fall for each other or for it to be a thing. And I feel like that when people would always say like, that's the time when it happens, I would always be like, okay, like, yeah, whatever.
That's what they all say.
And then like literally, but yeah, she's amazing. And we also like got to, you know, write together. She's also an artist, and yeah, super dope. And
this would probably be good for other couples to hear. Even myself, I'm in a relationship where I had to get through COVID. What is something that was tough for you guys, and how did you get through those moments?
I think just spending so much time together that like sometimes like I feel like, I don't know, probably still like working through it, but like it's easy to like lose yourself in that and to like lose yourself fully in your sense of independence. Mm-hmm. So I think like doing things for myself, like sometimes me just like getting up early to go meditate alone, stuff like that was like really important for me, because I tend to get really sucked into things and then lose all perspective. So.
It is so true. I say it all the time. It's almost like whether it's a relationship or a friendship, even like in college, like you're just around your roommates so much. That, like, at one point you're like, stop breathing. Why do you breathe like that?
Now we're like the same mega human. It's crazy.
And you have to keep yourself as an individual.
Right.
Something that I've heard you talk about that actually grew too during COVID is just like things you're thankful for.
Right.
Talk about that and something that you're
I mean, just lots of gratitude. I think it started with a big existential crisis. Like I was like really going at 1,000,000 miles per hour mentally, and you know, obviously it was just at home, and I think that burned me way down. And then I just turned to gratitude and a lot of spiritual stuff, and you know, like nothing too crazy, but just a lot of meditation, and really just realizing like you know, in a song like 26, I think that was like a moment where I realized, okay, I have so much beauty in my life, but I don't know how to feel it, and I don't know how to feel good for myself. And then now this whole journey and like making this album and really where I'm at in my life now is like being like, okay, like I'm gonna shut up all the demons inside that are trying to like pull me back to negativity and actually appreciate all the beauty in my daily life and just embrace that. So be thankful.
And that's not something that's like easily done, right? It's easy to sit here and say that, but like to be able to get that inner understanding and be thankful and actually have gratitude. And something cool that I've heard that you do, and it resonates with me for a certain reason, I'm going to ask you about it first, is when you're back in New York where you went to college, you always go back to the restaurant that you worked at.
Yeah.
El Centro. One, what makes you want to do that?
I mean, one, the food is just super good. Like, I love the chilaquiles. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a sentimental thing, you know? Yeah. It's just nice to go back to the places. Like, I feel like that was such a moment in my life too. I think I was like getting through a breakup at the time. And I don't know. I love going back to places that just remind me of like who I am. You know?
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of going to get at. Is it grounding for you? Is that a grounding 100%. Moment?
Yeah.
Because for me, something that I do every week is I go see my mom right back in my hometown of Framingham, where your manager's from.
Right.
But because that always gets me away from all the craziness, and this brings me back to a spot where I was a different person, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
And it helps me grounded. So
family is a huge thing too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I spent, I'm 27 now, and I spent a lot of my early 20s just like crazy, like wild, like whatever, close to my family, but not always super consistent. But I feel like, my parents are retiring and moving a lot closer to me now, and that's going to be really cool. And yeah, so I'm thankful for that too.
Talk about how important family is for you. My mom's my best friend. My brother does a radio show with me, and I think it's.
I just feel like the older I get, the more I realize like family is like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. There's just this invisible force of energy that I actually didn't even recognize before. I think like in some ways I was trying to define myself outside of my family in some ways, not in like I think every kid as you get older, you're like, okay, this is the person I am, right? And I feel like, the older I get, the more I'm appreciating like, no, like we are this like beautiful unit, and like we have so much like shared, like, I don't know, it's the family thing. I don't know.
You can't explain it, but people always say you only have one family, right? When you're growing up, you're kind of like, no, but I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. But then I do think what you're saying is as we get older, we realize, no, that is our rock. That's what keeps us us.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And then there's something that I would love to talk on too, because I feel like it helps so many people. You openly talk about anxiety and how that can be a tough thing, and how you like to channel your energy and make sure it's focused in the right direction. But talk about how you cope with anxiety.
Well, one, literally just talking about it. Like I feel like anytime, lately that I feel anxious in a conversation or, in any situation, like I feel like I have to be able to name it and like even be okay with like saying it to the other person, or, even if it's in a group of people, but then also just like refocus my energy. And I feel like once I can kind of like, I feel like acknowledge it, but then not give it power and like keep moving forward. That's really good. Meditation is huge for me. It's like, I can't even tell you how huge it is for me. Like it's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, well, until you said like acknowledge it, almost like when you say it, it's like the elephant in the room, and now it's out, right? So now it's not like not. Because it's like
I think everybody shares. I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder if there's all this like pooled, shared, invisible anxiety cloud that like everybody taps in, and everyone has their own version, but like I don't know. And then it's like sometimes I just feel like it's so disarming to be able to be like at least for me to be able to be like, yeah, I feel kind of anxious right now, and then all of a sudden I'm like goofy and feeling good again and like having fun. I don't know.
But I think that's so important to do, and so many people, almost I would say everybody, to be honest, has an anxiety. Issue is the wrong word, but it's anxiety in their life, 100%. And being able to hear how others deal with it, or hear somebody else say that could even help somebody else with their anxiety, who maybe the person you're talking to has anxiety. You keep talking about meditation. Just real quick before we get deeper into the music, tell me a little bit more about how you meditate and how you use that to help.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of either just search up like guided meditations on YouTube, or there's different apps, obviously, or I guide myself, or I have a friend of mine who honestly had a tough time in my life. He came into my life and he would sit down with me like, I don't know, 3-4 times a week, and we'd sit outside and like be in the sunlight preferably, and he would like guide us, and then I started guiding us back. And we would kind of just go on these like very open-ended journeys that are these like, it's like kind of non-traditional, but it's amazing. I don't know. It's just like a lot of it for me is like speaking from the heart. So like, it's not just sitting inside. I think some people are like, okay, you just sit there, like, you know what I mean? And I think like that doesn't have to be the only version of meditation, like just sitting there and like breathing and being like, I am my breath. There's ways where I feel like you can do it. You can start there, and then you can just literally almost like verbally journal out what's going on inside and what you want to manifest in terms of like what feelings you want to like identify with. If you want to identify with positivity, visualize the positivity in front of you, like I don't know, stuff like that. Really cool.
It's so powerful. I mean, I won't say that I'm a avid meditator, but probably something that I need, right? And it's hearing you talk about that, and somebody watching is hearing you talk about that, I think is more powerful than you even know. So I appreciate you
of course.
sharing that. And now
I needed it.
onto more stuff in the music. I know you're so excited. Let's talk real quick. We talked earlier about your pandemic relationship. You guys wrote a song together.
Yes,
it's out now. It's amazing. Talk about that real quick. All for Nothing.
Yeah, no, it's cool that we actually got to make this song together, and it all, I feel like, happened so nicely. Like the chorus came to me, and I voice memoed that, and she was coming back into the room, and she was like, "That's super dope." And then we finished it with a friend of ours, and it's basically like it was about that moment in the relationship where I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's after I've been in love a few times, or some version of love. Every time it's different. You kind of are a little bit more apprehensive, and it's easier to push people away. And I think that was the moment where I was like, I can't push her away. Like, not gonna do that.
Gotta let her in.
Yeah.
Let her in. Yeah.
And so and we got to make that together, which I think we're gonna look back at that like in our lives, and it's gonna be so powerful. So
I mean, such a moment. I mean, not many couples can say, "Oh yeah, like when we truly felt the love, we wrote a song." And now it's out. That's awesome. On top of that, the album's coming out in August, and I was saying earlier that we're very lucky that you basically come to Boston. The album comes out the 5th, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you come to Boston the 18th, if I'm correct, like 2 weeks later. And you mentioned earlier,
so excited.
The last time you didn't get to perform your album. So talk about how exciting the show is for you, and how special it'll be for everybody coming to it.
Yeah, I'm super excited, because it's I get to have all this new music, but also so much music that came out right before the pandemic that I think a lot of people have been, listening to for a long time, that I can't wait to go and bring it to life on stage. A lot of bangers, a lot of intimate moments. It's gonna be super sick. So
it's got to be overwhelmingly exciting just to show
I can't wait. I feel like I could not miss it anymore at this point. I'm just so excited.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, why don't we all in Boston want to round of applause you? We appreciate you supporting the Celtics with the green hair.
Hell yeah.
No. Thank you and all the success. I mean, congrats on all the success. Thank you for just sharing so much open stuff with us. I do think it goes a long way, and we look forward to seeing you in August.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you. That's great, man.
Awesome. I appreciate
Thanks for the amazing interview.
Thank you. Good times.
I love when there's real conversation. That's
well, yeah, I say it all the time. It's I'd rather have a real conversation than ask you about the same thing everybody else asks you about.
Right. No,
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do it.